getting on it like this. Ain't nothing to the road to the
Sunbelt Syndicate.
Presented by Dano's Seasoning. Yum yum, get you some.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Sunbelt Syndicate. A very special show for you tonight. Before we get started too far along, I want to make a quick shout out to our sponsors, W Energy, Fanplex Graphics, as you can see behind us here, the Boone and App State representation, as well as the Troy Trojans over there. We got to keep it real for the Sunbelt. TSN Off-Road, and of course, TJ's favorite seasoning, Dano's Seasoning.
Yes, sir. I put Dano's, I put it on everything.
Got to put it on everything. And as they say, yum, yum, get you some. It's definitely going to be a tasty treat to top anything, especially when you're out there in those tailgating parking lots. And I don't think anybody's going to be out hanging out in those parking lots right now, though, TJ, right?
Yeah, no, not in. I think I checked the weather in Boone. I think earlier, I think it was like 17 degrees tonight. But it feels like -1 in terms of the wind chill. So I was like, yeah, let's stay inside. Maybe everybody stay in the house and don't be jumping in Duck Pond Field tonight, guys.
No. That's definitely not want to be doing. So let's welcome in our first guest or two. I want to intro these guys as they come in. We'll start with the guy who was just below us here, BT, Mr. Brandon Turner, a wide receiver with App State from 2002 to 2005, the current App State radio analyst. Is that what your official title is?
and that's what you want. And that's what you want to give it. Yeah, that's my official title during the football season for App State football. Up in the radio booth for Adam Witten, who's my play-by-play guy, and I'm the analyst alongside of him for 14, 15 weeks a season. Calling App State football games, seeing the Mountaineers up live, close in person from the press box.
Absolutely, man. You do a great job. We really appreciate what you do. Good little thing, since you're both previous wide receivers. Somebody heard Brian Quick was still up.
He might still be.
He might, man. Those hands were ridiculous, especially in that video we played to break the show in tonight. So we expect a good amount of people to jump into the comments and questions. I promise we will get to as many as we can. We will realistically not be able to get to every last one of them, but we definitely want to try and share and get you guys to interact with DJ once he gets up here. But while we're waiting for him to arrive, we also have Mr. Jacque Roman himself.
What's up?
From 2005 to 2008, three-time FCS champ. A lot of championships going to be on the screen tonight, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
A lot of rings.
That boy coming in like he fresh out of a Bible study meeting over there.
Ain't he? That boy junior deacon tonight, ain't he?
I might end this thing with a prayer.
There you go.
We might need it after some of the stories we might hear later, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. We need to leave those stories on the mountain.
Yeah,
we need to stay in Boone.
Some of them will be staying there. I know we've gotten close to towing the line on a few things. I think the last time BT was on, we almost disclosed too much information.
Yeah, it's easy to do with this group.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Oh man.
Yes, indeed.
Well, while we're waiting, go ahead.
TJ.
Good to see you, man.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, my man.
Nice to meet you, Jacque. Officially, I think. Well, actually, you remember Jeff and Tracy from the tailgating parking lot, where I really met most of you guys. At least stopped by with my interactions with you guys. So that you guys used to bring the rings out and all kinds of good stuff was happening over there at that tailgate. So I miss those stadium parking lot days.
Yeah. Those was the days.
Yes. That was definitely the days. What kind of excitement for you guys is it to see somebody that you guys played with, have experience with, has a friendship with, come back and be an integral part of the staff? I mean, I know he already was, but maybe not to this extent that he is now, and what this may mean going forward for him and the team itself.
Yeah, I think for us, I think, we talked about this last time, Dominic. I think the biggest thing for us as former players, we always want to have somebody that's a familiar face back on the mountain, right? Like we want somebody who has, who understands the culture, understand what it's like to put that uniform on, put those helmets, the shoulder pads on, and because it's a different atmosphere, right? You guys know that when we're all on that mountain, we are all we have. Right, like there is no other, there's no going out. This isn't Greensboro, this isn't Raleigh, Durham, this isn't Charlotte. When you're in Boone, you're in Boone, and the university is Boone. So it's nice to have somebody that understands that culture, that can sit down in the kid's living room and say to him, hey, when you come to this university, it is about football. You're going to be a student athlete. You're going to go to school. You're going to get your books, get an education. And then your second part of your life is football. And that's really all it is. And so being able to ingratiate that and ingrain that in these new kids that are coming up so that they understand what they're getting when they go to Boone, right? My freshman year coming in to App State, I'm from the beach. It was, 95 degrees and sunny, probably 8 months out of the year. I get to Boone and it's, 5 degrees. And I had to really, get myself mentally prepared for that. And that's just part of it, right? Winter gym and all of the other things that we had to go through on a regular basis. Having somebody that has gone through that, understands it and knows it, I think that's the biggest part of what's going to be successful about him, in terms of the recruiting trail. But Jacque, what do you think?
Yes, most definitely. You said the key word, man, culture. I think United as App State, like we grew up in the culture era, and I think and we played in the culture era, and I think DJ's able to bring that part back to Appalachian State, in which I think him going through and being national championships and winning and kind of building his resume before he came back to App. In the coaching world, it's a lot of excitement behind this. Like when I seen the hire, I almost charged it up in my living room.
I was going to say, did you charge it up?
I was charged it up, because it brought back everything, all the memories. It brought back the brotherhood. And I think with that being installed in DJ, I don't see nothing less than him bringing that to the table. And to be honest with you, I've been following DJ since his coaching career, and I feel like he brought a lot of that with him to Missouri. And seeing the linebackers, how they play together there, as he was coaching the linebackers, it's like that looks very familiar. That looks like a group who knows how to play together. And I guarantee every last one of them players who probably played with him up under his umbrella at Missouri would probably tell you the same thing. He brought that. And I think it's installed in him, just like it's installed in us. We don't talk nothing less but coach at App State and winning. And I think he's able to bring that to the table and kind of bring that missing piece there.
Absolutely. BT, thoughts on?
And I think now with how college football is in this day and age, culture sometimes get thrown around a lot. And it's not really about a culture. Like you can't bring you can't have a whole coaching staff that coaches in Boone that's never been in Boone. Like if this is their first time being in Boone, and you don't know what it's like. TJ said, you don't know what it's like being in Boone. It's a lot of people who think it's gonna be all sunshine and nice days, but you got to forget those winter nights. It's cold. I know we sound like we're the old guys now. But when we had to do winter workouts, you get up at 5:30, you have to trek across campus to get into the gym or go down, get up to the field or go down to varsity gym. Those things mean something. DJ's been through that thing. So I think a lot of time I do believe I hear the word culture too much thrown around in sports in general. But the thing is, when you've been a part of a program and you've seen what the culture is like DJ understands what it's like to be probably to have cutter gloves that you got to put water on so they'll stick. He understands what it's like to have nothing. You got to earn those with no pockets. There you go.
Oh man!
Yeah, I remember what it was like that in sweatpants. Remember when we first got those gray Nike sweatpants and
tell us nothing? Oh man, we went crazy over those pockets,
bro. Listen, like that's what I'm saying. So DJ when we as players we talk about the culture at App State. being up under Coach Moore and what he's done for the program, highlighted that Block A to what it is right now. That's a culture. Now, you can't have, and this is something that I kind of talk about sometimes on the radio, you can't have a culture when you got players coming in and out every year.
Right.
What's your culture? What is the culture to that? Because if I'm coming in from school A and I'm only there for a year, do I really know what the culture of App State is? The culture is built through guys who start there as freshmen, red shirt, play 4 years, and go about their life after football because they know what it's like to be in the trenches, as we say. You can't bring a guy in there and he's there for 6 months and he knows about a culture. Nah, bro. You don't know about a culture until you've been through.
Only thing he knows is cold.
Yeah, all you know is cold, bro. And like I remember when I stepped on campus, 2001. It's probably that spring. Come back from Christmas break. All right, it's cold outside. It's snowing. We ain't got class. We ain't got nothing going on. Yeah, you find out real quick that the stuff up on the mountain continues to operate with 3 feet of snow.
Absolutely.
Whether they're hawks coming down River Street. There's been plenty of days where you covered up, walking past your teammate, and you know who he was. That like those are some of the things that you gotta get adjusted to. You gotta stand there and because it paid off for us.
Right.
I got 1 championship. Y'all got 3.
Right.
I got 3 of them. So I got 1. Y'all got 3. So we know what it's like to have to go through the grind. Obviously, yeah, it was back in early 2000. Who cares? It's 2025 coming up now. It's 2025 now. But guys, we know what it's like to be in Boone, to have to go in the varsity gym and work out. Like it's interesting. They only I think the last time I heard they only have winter condition like we used to have.
Oh,
they get to go inside.
Bro, remember we had to take our gym shoes in a backpack and wear Timberland boots across the street just to make it across the street because the snow was so high. You want to wear your gym shoes. Yeah. And
so these guys got to obviously everybody's gonna pave the way for somebody. So we've paved the way for Appalachian State to be where it's at right now. We've paved the way for it to be a prominent program. You guys done a lot more than I did. Y'all won 3 national championships. I was only there for 1. But when y'all guys came in, it was a brotherhood. It was a bond. It wasn't no transferring here, transferring there, getting out of it. Nah, you stuck with those guys for 4 to 5 years, and that's how we have some of our biggest relationships to this day. I mean, like I say, I came in 2001. I think y'all guys came in 03, 04. I mean, it's 2025, and we're still connecting. We're still friends because we've built those bonds over the years and been able to stay in touch with each other and be able to support this Mountaineer program through the highs, through the lows. We know what it's like to be a player up there in Kid Brewer Stadium.
100%.
Oh yeah, Hunter wanted to get one in on you, TJ. So, hey, you got the last laugh in that one, right?
I was going to say I remember last time I saw a blue hen, it was 42-14. But
yeah,
what do I know?
Hey, it's interesting. I actually got to see it. I've never seen that stadium before. I went up to Maryland to visit my in-laws side of the family, and a hotel we stayed in was in Delaware because obviously Delaware and Maryland are right there by each other. And the hotel we stayed in was directly across the street from the University of Delaware. I was like, I remember those Blue Hens getting beat down a couple times. So,
yeah.
That was a bad night for them.
Yeah.
Bad night.
Jason chiming in saying, you guys made Appalachian State football a national brand. 3 natties, the greatest upset in college football history, and talent on both sides of the ball was unreal. There's a special reason that you guys are all brought together tonight. I thank TJ tremendously for getting you all to commit to this show and come on. And, we just got 2 more superstars to join the feed. So let's welcome them to the show now. The man that helped BT start this great tradition and culture, Mr. Richie Williams, the quarterback. And Richie, correct me if I'm wrong, because TJ and I are looking at your stats, and it's showing 2004, 2005, but you were at App State longer than that, correct? Oh, we got him?
I don't think we have him. Can he hear us?
That man on a dial-up connection over there. Yes, what's good?
Oh, you got it.
Is that me?
Now we got you.
It's you.
That man said, is that me?
Hey, I ain't restart this computer now. I just jumped on, so
I think we got you good now. I think it was just when I first added you in or something. But just correct us. You were at App State for all 4 years of your college career?
Uh-oh.
Rich, tell the kids to get off the Wi-Fi, man.
Yeah, tell him he gonna have to use his cellular data. Look, old people don't like to use their data plan.
Hold on. That's his gigabytes. Gigabytes. Hey, those things right
That man got that Jerry Moore connection.
Oh man.
Oh boy.
Oh man. All right. We're gonna give him a second. We will we'll bring him back on when he gets that figured out. If anybody wants to send him something to say, jump on with his cell phone or something, because it's got to be better reception than what that was.
I'll send him a quick text.
In the meantime, we'll bring along a guy who did a few things. Mr. Armanti Edwards, just
There he is.
2006 to 2009, a two-time Walter Payton winner, two-time FCS champ, an NFL draft pick, a Grey Cup winner, and a college football Hall of Famer. If I put all those
I was going to say no big deal, right?
Right, yeah, no big deal, right?
No big deal. Yeah, just a walking legend.
Guy knows a little bit about what he's doing, but appreciate you jumping on with us tonight, Armanti, and everything that you've done to help bring this school and this culture, like we've talked about with these guys already. What are your thoughts specifically on DJ coming back and returning to the mountain?
I love it. I feel like that he's going to be the next guy up. The way that college is going right now, good or bad, the coach now, I can only see him there for a few years. So who's going to take the reins after that? So I like his position.
I was thinking the same thing. He's setting himself up currently to be the next head coach, because I don't know if you guys were listening to the last show Dom and I did live. One of the things that I pointed out was I'd like to see DJ as a head coach, or at least be considered in that head coaching kind of interview process. And then when I found out, defensive coordinator, I thought that's the perfect transition to getting him into the position where he needs to be for us long term. Because when you think about, and just like you said, Armanti, the revolving door that is coaching in college football, a lot of these coaches are using these, G5 schools, if you will, as sort of stepping stones to get to that next level, to get to that Arkansas, to get to that Missouri, like Eli Drinkwitz did us, and a bunch of different. And I got no qualms with that, right? Like I got no problem with it. Everybody's got to advance their career. Everybody's got to take that next step. But when you get somebody like a DJ Smith, or guys that have been coaching for us or have played for us in the past, you feel more at home, and you feel more inclined to stay a little bit longer to see the development of these freshman guys that you bring in and sort of hold on to that a little bit, because it makes you feel more proud, right? You develop and you were a part of this culture from the beginning, and now you're helping develop young kids and see them through graduation and those kinds of things. These are the things now that our coaching staff had that these younger guys won't have in their coaching staff, because it's such a revolving door, not just for the players, but also for the coaches. Everybody's trying to get that next level and get that next dollar. And I got no problem with it. But I think with DJ being in this position now for us, I think this is going to kind of give us that culture and reestablish what it takes to be an Appalachian State Mountaineer for the next 5 to 6 years. That's just where I look at it.
Yeah, definitely agree there. Seth's got a point. That rolls into a question that I do have in the end. You guys have mentioned transfer portal, NIL quite a bit. Seth said it's not really just for Armanti. I bet everybody on here, when you start winning championships, the whole roster starts getting looked at. You guys talked about the culture and the closeness of this group across multiple years, across multiple championships. The coaching staff stayed mainly intact. The playing group definitely stayed mainly intact. Obviously it's not a thought back then, but does it change if it were to happen this day and age? Like, do you think you guys would be at this point that App would have gotten to that level with all the craziness that can occur in the off season anymore?
I would say to be honest with you, like when we were winning, and I can't even program my brain to think that way, because when we was winning at App, like like we didn't even recognize we were that big and winning like that. We just love football. We love each other.
Right.
Like we were 3-time national championships. We won a dynasty, you know, and literally, like we had other people telling us that. Like we didn't walk around, you know, with our chests out and saying that we were 3-time national champions. It took other people actually to come to me and say, "Oh, you played for App State? Oh, y'all beat Michigan." Like, and that is the same thing until this day, you know.
Yeah.
So we're starting a little bit different. So when I think about if the NIL was around, we would have had so much attention on us that you know. I think the way we were installed, I think it would have been a whole lot of attention. But I think as a brotherhood and what we really cared about winning. And I couldn't see myself personally. I couldn't see myself leaving App State unless like, and then depending on my second string linebacker behind me to carry the culture for or carry the position for App State. Like I couldn't do that. Like I personally couldn't. And what man, back in the day we're built different. Everything is kind of a business now. So I can't say that things would have been, you know, the same if it was at this time of day and era, because we had a lot of eyes on us, you know, and we had a lot of great players that come through Appalachian State, and some people's eyes that they shouldn't have been at App State. But in our eyes, we were brothers, we were winning, and we had a culture that we knew that couldn't have been broken, and I don't think anything could have broke that. And if it did, we don't leave individually. We'll come, like Armanti will come talk to me and be like, you know, bro, I'm thinking about making this decision as a team captain, and you know, and we will come together as a unit for that. We wouldn't leave, you know, we care too much about our coaches too. You know, we cared about our coaches. We didn't want to put them in a position to be able to not have a player the caliber of a Jacque Roman, TJ Corman, you know, BT or Armanti Edwards. You know, so that's where I stand. But it would have been a lot of attention on a lot of players to transfer, and you know, the NIL stuff that's going on is different, man. And I can't even wrap my brain around like how coaches operate now, to tell you the truth. Like I can't, like it's a whole different, like it's basically like the NFL now.
Yeah.
You know, it's actually worse, you know, because you got these 18-year-old kids who's making adult decisions, and a lot of these 18-year-olds
getting adult money.
Can you
No
imagine
contract.
millionaire at 18?
There's no
We
contract.
were we were fighting over calf food. Like we were, you know,
We couldn't wait till it was steak night at the training table.
we couldn't wait till it was steak night. Like how do you wrap your brain around it? And that's why it's so different, man. To the point where I think that the NIL definitely that era would have broke up the dynasty. Because the way we were built together, and like BT said earlier, we were playing together for, you know, 3-4 years together, you know, and that culture was there. And it's hard to build culture with this NIL and, you know, transfer thing going on.
Yeah, it's interesting that you said you would make the decision as a team, because it seems like Marshall did that, transferring like most of their roster down to Southern Miss. So what you're saying seems to be very true for a group of men that were that close and did feel like they were fighting for each other. So it's awesome. BT, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think obviously, you know, we love the game of football. Like I've been in with in love with the game since I started playing at 6 years old. Football's taken me places that I couldn't imagine it taking me. And so my love for the game, and then second, my love for my teammates. Obviously, like you got Richie finally logged back on. Like me and Rich been boys for 20-something years.
Yeah,
like, I couldn't exactly. Like we've been with each other through the highs and through the lows, and so that's what builds the camaraderie. Rich is my best man at my wedding in September. Like we've been together for a long time, and like I couldn't see myself, you know, being with another group of guys. And it's just all of us how we stay connected.
Yeah.
If you're a guy that came in for a year and you left, you ain't connected with us really. You ain't done much with us. Or if you came in for a semester and you left, us being together, and I think that NIL portion. You never know what you do when you're 18-year-old and you don't have no financial guidance. You throw me $1,000 back in 2001.
Facts.
It's gone in 2 hours, y'all. Like, this is the truth.
Yeah.
I remember, like,
look, Tennessee was right down the road.
Man.
Look, grab me a handful of ones.
Stop it, man.
Bro, like, we'd have been asking for some more money the next day because
Right.
the one thing you can't sit up here and give kids thousands of dollars with no financial guidance.
Nope.
They're gonna blow it. And it's some I
You
heard
get
the other
NFL
day,
that, you know.
Yeah. I heard the other day how, like, I think somebody was on one of these podcasts talking about how all these players go broke 2 to 3 years after they get out of the professional leagues because they didn't have no guidance. And they're 25, 30 years old. What do you think an 18, 19-year-old gonna do?
Yeah.
No, I agree.
You throw me $1 million at 19 years old.
Yeah.
Don't forget it's untaxed too. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
they're getting this money tax free. So
I might not tell you I'm rich, but there will be signs.
It will be signed.
There will be
I
signs.
won't have no. Hey, I have more than some gray sweatpants and got it upstate on walking around.
That is
there.
Yeah. Because we were, but at the end of the day, now that we think about it, we were walking brands, and we represented ourselves very well at Appalachian State, and without getting paid. Like we represented the school, we represented, the program to the point where now, like we are the program. We can get on this call and be brothers because that's what the program is about. And now, these guys come in and it's about money. They take money, and then they leave. So it's broken to the point where, like you said, it needs to be some type of guidance there,
regulation,
some type of rules and regulation. What I think is you gotta at least stay for 2 years. Like you gotta at least stay for 2 years, and then it's like a free agency. Like you're a free agent after that, but you're not coming 1 year and we give you $500,000 and then also you can lead to another program. Like that's a decision that an 18-year-old is not capable of making.
Not equipped. Yeah, he's not equipped.
Or either just limit. You got to limit the times you can transfer, bro.
And then what I say,
transferring 3, 4, 5 different schools within 6 years, man. That's just crazy. There's no way you should be able to do that.
all right.
Yeah, I think it's about like the old school. You get that one-time transfer for free. That second, you need to sit out.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
and not only just out for me. So what Dominic and I talked about a couple episodes back was obviously first transfer. We talked about free, right? You should be able to, if it's not the right situation, not the right setting, or your coach leaves or something like that. I get it, right? Everybody should be able to have that one issue. Second one, you should have to provide a justification in order for the NCAA to grant you a transition. And that's family circumstances or the coach that recruited me left. I mean, I think that's a valid reason for wanting to leave. Those kinds of things. That should be like to put a kind of, I don't want to say put a bow on this, but one of the biggest things that going back to the whole transfer portal and that whole deal, I know you guys, BT and Richie, you probably don't, but Armanti, you and Jacque, remember Josh Johnson. Remember he came in and he was supposed to be the hype, the savior, and all of those kinds of things. He came in and played with us for a year. And I guess things didn't go the way he wanted. He was on the team with us that beat Michigan. And then that next following year, ended up transferring, going to Mars Hill. We played against them the first game of the season that following year. Jacque, you don't remember what y'all did to him on defense, do you?
I don't remember, but it was quick and easy. Yeah, I was out by the first half.
Yeah, he almost didn't make it through the first half because there was a message we were trying to send. We are brothers. We stand on that. And that's the way our brotherhood was built, was because we were a team and you decided you're going to leave us. We took that personal, right? Even the wide receiver group, we took it personal and we couldn't even hit him. There was no handshakes. There was no dapping him up after the game. You are an enemy now. And it's a lot less of that, in my opinion, now than there was when we was coming up.
Most definitely, everybody buddy, man.
Yeah.
Agent
jerseys and all that.
They talking like if me and BT played against each other, I can imagine they doing this after the game. I go up to BT and be like, man, I might be with you next year.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they already planning. They scheming.
Yeah. Come on, man. Yeah.
Wanted to add Leonard to the screen as he's been waiting there for a minute, but Leonard, a DB at App State from 2005 to 2008. Also, again, we could list this for just about all y'all. FCS National Champion, 3-time. Say it again, 3-time national champion. So, Leonard, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for joining.
Man,
going on,
thanks for
Love?
having me. What's going on,
Leonard,
fellas?
Leonard, what up?
Yeah.
What's up? It's been a while. It's been a while. Thanks for having me on, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
man. We were going over, obviously talking about what DJ means to the program. I know you and I shared some text messages about it and where we thought he should be. I know what kind of culture he could reestablish in the Mountain. Give us your take on what you think this hire means for us.
Man, it means a ton, man. I'm excited about it just because of his pedigree and his ability to recruit. And his just eye for talent, man. And that's one thing that I feel like the defense, at least on the defensive side of the ball, past few years, man, we've been kind of lacking some edge. And even when DJ was here previously, when Drink was here and with Coach Sapp, when he was on the staff as a backers coach, he had some guy. has Akeem Davis Gaither in the league right now, right? That's one of his guys. He put a guy, the guy that plays for Kansas City, that was at Missouri, that was a backer.
Yeah,
right. He's got a, he's got a, Bolton. Is it Bolton? Yeah. So he's got a few guys in the, So he's got a few guys in the league, and he just knows what it takes to get there, man. So having somebody that has that experience, that's been there, that's done it, that's invaluable, man. And to have a guy that's also been there and done that at App, and I heard you guys speaking earlier, was listening to you on the phone. That just helps the cause even more, man. So he knows what it takes to be great up there. He knows, and he can speak to, hey, you can be great at App and still go to the league, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what all these guys want to do, right? And they want to put themselves in a position to go to the next level. Yeah, this NIL money is cool, but the big bag comes when you go to the next level. And that's where those guys really want to go. And he knows what it takes to get there. So it's exciting to see him, come back home and, really put together what I believe he will do is put together really solid and strong defense, and make a few guys run those bleachers, spit from the top, and see if they can go catch him.
Tip for Coach Jones.
You guys and TJ helped surprise me by bringing everybody together tonight, and we're still waiting on DJ to jump in. But I've got a little bit of a surprise for you all, because this gentleman here helped you all look really, really good on the video aspect from your playing days. And he's still hard at work making lots of videos for a lot of people, maybe some country stars that used to also go to App State. So I'd like to welcome Mr. Tyler Adams to the show.
What's up, baby?
What's up, guys?
We got ourselves a good old-fashioned reunion, don't we?
Yeah. Good to see you. How is everybody?
Good, man. Good. Where are you these days?
I live down in Rock Hill. We have a studio in Charlotte. Don't really spend a lot of time in either. On the road a lot. I've spent a lot of time with Armanti the past month or so. We're working on some stuff with his Hall of Fame thing, which is pretty cool. So it's been fun to relive the glory days with him, and really enjoyed it. It's really good to see all you guys.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's nice to see you.
Likewise.
Yeah, so I mean, you've been a part of the culture. You know the program. You know exactly what this is. So I'll ask you the same question that I've asked the guys. I mean, what does hiring DJ mean for us as a program? What does that look like for you? And what do you think that will do for us from a cultural perspective?
Well, like in thinking of like who he wanted to hire, honestly, he didn't even come across my mind because I didn't think he was attainable. To be a co-defensive coordinator in the SEC and stuff like that. So when I heard the announcement, I was actually with Armanti that day. I was like, I can't believe it, that we got DJ. How long we have him, I don't know. But like home run hire. I mean, just to have someone in the position that he's going to be that went through Appalachian State when Appalachian State was, really what it's been the whole time, where you really had to earn your way and stuff like that. It just, it can't get any better. And, he was really, I remember when he came in, I didn't know how we got him then. He was
Yeah.
super talented guy that maybe was a little undersized, but I mean, I remember he started his first year as a freshman on the teams we had. You know, it's insane. So I'm tickled to death, you know, that we got him, and excited to see what happens.
Yeah. I think it's like you said. I mean, it kind of just basically repeating what everybody has said. You know, the entire show is it's going to reestablish what it means to play football on the mountain. We talked about it before. Some of you guys jumped on. And Boone, man, it's different, and it's not Charlotte, it's not Raleigh, it's not whatever these big cities are. When you were in Boone, the university is the town. I mean, and all you have is your boys around you. And hopefully those guys look after you and look after what is your best interest, because I know there was a lot of times where, a couple of us could have been in some trouble that had it not been for Richie grabbing me by the collar my freshman year, things could have went left, and you got to have those kind of people on your team. And it's hard to have that when you're in those bigger cities, because there's a lot more to get into. So if you're looking for the party life and those kinds of things and going out late night doing that, App State is that's not the school for you. This is a school that's focused on, first of all, getting your grades, but secondarily, man, put those pads on and go represent and go play football. And that's what it is 95% of the time.
Mm-hmm. And I'll say, so the football team itself has got a bond like no other. But if you just compare Appalachian State to other schools, when you bring up the fact that you go to App, you see a twinkle in someone's eye. I mean, like, yeah. For a long time, it's taken me a long time to figure out what it might be. And I think we really needed each other. And I'm just talking about peers on campus and in the community. I mean, just, the weather is one thing by itself, but you don't have the connections, like you said, to other things. You truly needed that person to help you. And it's like when you hear, oh, I went to Appalachian State, it's almost like, oh, we're family. I already know what you went through. We don't have to have a long conversation. Like, I already know who you are and I know what you're about. And then to put the football team aspect on it and just the stuff that we all got to live through during that time because it was earned, not because it was some fluke, or how Coach Moore would say, we didn't just pull a rabbit out of the hat. I mean, this was a long time coming, and it wasn't by accident, with the collection of people that he brought together and the stuff that he constantly preached over and over again. That didn't just happen overnight. That was started back in 1989 when we first stepped foot on campus. So, it really is a unique connection. Just the App family in general. I've never seen a reaction to it when you see someone in a sweatshirt or, whatever it might be. It's really a prideful thing. And, we still do a lot of stuff in sports, and we're connected, and we're all, all over the country. And when people find out you're from App, people say that all the time. They're like, I don't understand the connection. Like, when you bring up Appalachian State, there is just this strong passion that people have for it.
And they can't wait to tell you where they were when it happened, right? Where they were, where they were sitting when they saw the block kick, or how did you guys do it? I mean, I've got a neighbor, her oldest son goes to App State now. And she saw me on the T-shirt. I was riding a bike with my son in my neighborhood. And she's like, oh, you went to Appalachian State. And we just started having a conversation, and football came up. And I was like, yeah, we need to do better this year, blah, blah, blah. And then we started talking about it. And I told her that I played. And she was like, she immediately just lit up. Were you one of those teams? Did you win? Do you know who Armanti Edwards is? I was like, yeah, I know him. I know these guys. And and to your point, it just kind of, it's one of those things where when you tell somebody something like that, they just light up. And it's infectious, because we were the school, we were the underdog at the time, and they essentially saw the rise of what a a G5 school could be, right? They saw the little kids going up against the big kids, knocking the big kids off, and then building a name for ourselves, and then going, essentially 6 or 7-0 in bowl games, those kinds of things. And it brought us to prominence to where we are now. And now we're sort of a destination school for guys who aren't getting playing time in Miami or aren't getting playing time at Alabama, those kinds of things. They want to come play for us now. I mean, look, there's going to be a competition at quarterback this year coming up.
Right. Yeah. And I personally think what TJ said is important, because like we related and connected more to a whole lot of players and universities out there, because not everybody was the Alabamas, not everybody was the Georgias, not everybody was at the time Miami's, Florida States. There's a lot of schools who was the underdogs, you know, who we written the story, you know, by playing and beating Michigan and you know, winning 3 national championships in a row. Like, we really represented, and a lot of different schools looked up to us because everybody wasn't winning. And we kind of put out there that it could be done. You know, the underdog could write his own story. You know, David can be a lot, like it could be done, and we put that out there. And I think we were, you know, one of the first teams to do it. You know, to have that big upset, you know, the biggest upset in college football history, and then to actually come and win the national championship that year. You know, and beat Joe Flacco and they will not beat him, blow him out in the national championship. Mm-hmm. So we showed kids at smaller universities until this day that it can be done. Like it can be done, and everybody is trying to kind of live up to that Appalachian State standard when you're a small university, right? So
yeah, and not to dominate the conversation, but to that end, whenever it does happen, guess who's the team that they reference? Mm-hmm. Every single time. Every time. You know, when a couple years ago when we beat Mississippi State, even like I think it was a couple years right after that when William and Mary beat North Carolina at home. The first thing that they referenced was, just like the Giant Killers of Appalachian State, it's every year, and it's bound to happen more and more often. But every single year we get referenced, and it's one of those things where these guys on this screen right here and the guys that we play with will live forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to talk to Leonard and Richie too, because you guys are from that local area. Most of us are really not too far from Boone, but I grew up in Hickory, North Carolina, and when I grew up, no one talked about App State. No one wore App State T-shirts to school. And it was really interesting once I moved back to Boone and went back down the mountain. I had a roommate whose mom worked at a school, and she had us come do like the hobby day stuff. I walked in there and I was blown away with how much black and gold all these kids wore. It was everywhere. I'm talking every other student in this elementary school was wearing App State gear. And it just night and day from when I grew up as a kid, and no one really and TJ, to this end, you talked about it. I asked you how much did you know about App State before they recruited you, and you said 0, right?
No.
Yeah. So I mean, Leonard, you're from the Charlotte area. Like, how much App State tradition or history or anything did you hear about before you made your way up the mountain? And you're muted, so you got to unmute yourself before you go.
I'd say like TJ and mostly everyone else, man. Even with that being, a teaching school and, I never heard a peep about App State growing up. I mean, no one spoke about it. Once I committed, I mean, I had maybe a teacher or two mention something, but up until I met Coach Elliott, I never heard of it, which is interesting because it's only hour 45 minutes away from Charlotte, which, once Charlotte got a football team, I always got a little concerned. But, I mean, we have a much bigger name now, much bigger brand now, and I think that'll be hard to touch. But it was always a little bit frightening because you're right. I mean, for a long time, I don't think anyone ever spoke to App at all.
Yeah. Richie, what about you?
Same thing, yo. Like, being from Camden, South Carolina, all like Clemson, South Carolina, South Carolina State, but never heard of App State. Only reason I knew about it was because Coach Elliott is from Camden, South Carolina, and he's one of the Bulldog legends, high school football legends. So that's the only thing I knew about App, and crazy thing about it, we used to go up to Boone and play in a basketball tournament in high school every year for Christmas, and we would ride through the campus or whatever, but never even thought about, that was going to be an option. Until Elliott came and started recruiting me at the end of my senior year, and ended up there, man. And then fast forward, after 4.5 years on the mountain, you come back, it's buzzing. And then it just kept growing, when 14, the younger 14 showed up, Not
the old head 14.
Yeah, football team showed up, you know, just kept everything going, man. And like I tell cats all the time, like we were destined for it, man, because the first year we won it, we had a team full of young guys, you know what I'm saying? We had TJ, we had Jacque, we had Love. Like, we had a young team. I think we only had about 15 seniors.
If that. I think Zod.
Yeah, it might have been 12, and I think maybe 5 or 6 of us started.
Yeah, 5 or 6 of us contributors.
Yeah, well, it was y'all two. It was Jermaine Little, Big Zod.
Yeah.
Cam Spear. No, Cam Spear was
Grant Oliver.
Grant Oliver.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it, man.
Love.
Yeah. So like it was destined, man. You know what I'm saying? And like the boy said, we were the underdogs, and we just worried about when we got a time. We just worried about ourselves. And we just had a confidence. I know. I remember this story going into the playoffs. It's a video. BT eating a big old slice of pizza when they was watching the watch party to see what we were seated at. And Joe, our other roommate, Joe Sudo, sitting there. And we got the 2 seed, and we saw we were home all through the playoffs. And Joe was like, "Yeah, we about to win this shit." You know what I'm saying? He literally said that without a smile on his face, yo.
Wow.
Yeah. And here we are today, man.
It was just winning wasn't something. Even though there wasn't a culture of winning, I know before I got there, and that you guys, you guys were on the verge of, on the cusp of doing it. Even with that, winning was never something we thought about. It's just something we went out and did because we expected it to happen. It's it's kind of like playing at Alabama. And I'm not comparing us to Alabama in any stretch of anybody's imagination, but it's when we went to practice, when we lined up on the field, there were very few teams that we went up against that we thought, man, this might be a long day. Maybe LSU. Even when we played against Kansas our freshman year, I don't know if you guys remember, we had a shot to beat them.
Yeah.
We fumbled on the 3-yard line going into the
first drive.
First.
Yeah.
Hey, Rich.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna do him like that.
No, call him out.
Hey, hold up. Hey, TJ, what you talking about? You talking about playing at LSU? He had a chance to score. Rich threw him this.
He dropped. Look, we were both running the go route. I was at the end position. He was coming across the field, coming in the middle.
He dropped the wide open pass in the middle of the field of LSU.
I hope they were watching.
We only lost 24-0. We dropped 2 touchdown passes. Still dropped one on the corner, going up the field on the sideline. And Kev dropped.
I think Jermaine took one back. Almost took a kickoff return.
That was when he got hurt. That was when Jermaine Little got hurt. And then at halftime, because remember, I didn't play the whole first half. Yeah. And then the second half started, and Jermaine was he put him in the boot. And Lil Mo came up to me and was like, "Hey, freshman, you ready?" I was like, "I don't know, coach. I don't know if this is the game that you want me to be ready for."
Speaking of guys,
the LSU game, that's when we kind of knew we was all right. This year may be something special to us,
right? Because it took them the whole game to score 24 points.
They was loaded. They was, and I remember Wiggins hitting Dwayne Bowe going across.
Oh my God! He almost killed that boy.
Oh man!
He almost killed that boy.
Ended that NFL career before it started, almost, huh?
Yeah.
I think Dexter's having the same problem Richie had. Oh no, there he is. Okay, I thought he was froze up. But speaking of guys who don't drop passes very often, Mr. Dexter Jackson, a wide receiver with App State from 2004 to 2007, again a 3-time FCS champ, a second-round draft pick by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well. Welcome to the program, man.
Appreciate it. What's up, fellas?
How's it going?
Chilling, man.
That boy got
Where are you at these days, Dexter?
I'm in Atlanta.
Okay. Nice. And you are coaching high school ball right now, right? Or, well, I guess it's over now, right?
Yeah, I'm coaching high school ball. The school I'm at, private school called Maris, man. So I do all their speed and agility training for boys and girls soccer, football program, track. I'm doing it all right now. So
very nice, man.
Yeah,
I saw your
coach track. You might be the guy.
Made it to the championship game too now.
Yeah, made it to the championship game, man. So we just been grinding, locked in.
Very nice, man. I saw your post about how few injuries that your team and your athletes have had because of the way you train, which is pretty obvious with the way that you competed at the level you did, both on the college and pro scene. So it's awesome to have you as part of this. What are your thoughts now that we've got you in here about DJ making his way back up the mountain?
Oh, I love it, man. When Coach Clark was hired back in 2018, I want to say, I was up there doing the speed training for the youth up in Watauga County. That's really what got me into it was, Watauga County, I want to say the closest YMCA is in Avery. So at the time I was at the police academy, DA's office in DeKalb County, and I had just won like employee of the year. And I was like, what can I do to really push myself? 28 years old, 27, and I was like, let me go back to Boone and get into training athletes, because it's what, like 7, 8 elementary schools that feed into one middle school. Then they all go to Watauga, Ashe County or Avery. And I did that and tried to get on as an analyst with App State once Clark got hired. And I reached out to DJ, once I seen the post that he was coming back as DC, and was just happy to get more guys from, the culture that we were around back up there, because with the portal and guys not really getting recruited coming out of high school like I did, I'm really big on getting guys, or at least vetting guys that want to come in. They don't have to have the true Mountaineer way with the portal now, but at least kind of see what their intentions are before offering them money or getting them to wear the, black and gold, man.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Yeah. Well, I don't know which direction I want to take it next as we see if DJ's getting close here, because I had some stuff to play off of, mainly with, the fact Leonard and DJ grew up playing Pee Wee football together, I hear, right?
We did play for the Plaza Rams, man. One of the best all-time Pop Warner and youth league programs in the state, baby. Cover your trap, take over your trap. But nah, man, the Rams. Plaza Rams.
Yeah, I can't see what this thing on.
But yeah, man, it's wild. So even DJ, our parents went to high school together, man. So my dad went to high school. My dad and mom went to high school with his dad, Independence High, which is where he went to, man. So our families and our people have known each other for a long time, man. So it makes it even more special and exciting to see him come back to where it all started.
Y'all played against each other in high school too, right?
We did. DJ was a little younger though. I mean,
okay. I didn't
Independence was still getting in our ass, but DJ was a little younger.
Who ass did they not get in?
With the Butler,
yeah. No, we played against each other in high school because I went to Butler. Obviously, big time football. TJ, I know you.
Here we go.
A whole
See?
lot about that.
Yet we still ended up in the same place as roommates. So I don't know how that happened. All this big time football we're talking about, but we ended up in the same mountain.
Oh man.
Yeah. So Dex, just to kind of get you in more in conversation to what we've been talking about as it relates to DJ, and one of the big things that we talked about, and the word that we've used, and I heard you use it earlier over and over again, was culture, right? What a lot of people don't understand is some of the things that we had to go through, to get to those national championship seasons, to have enjoyed the things that we have. Like, again, we made a joke about it, but it was a long time until we got sweatpants with pockets, right? We had to earn our way to sort of get into the things that we needed to. What do you think a hire for DJ is going to do in terms of bringing back that culture to the mountaintop?
I mean, I would relate it to the level of, like, the youth athletes I'm around in high school, they don't question what I tell them to do, because they want to, if they're looking to go to college or the pros, they take everything I say and do it.
Right.
Because I played high school football, won 3 national championships at App State, went pro for a little bit, came back coach. I'm not doing it for the money. So they're like, okay, if he's coming back, he loves this place. He loves what he do. So with DJ coming back, former player, been coaching for a while, been doing it at a high level, went pro at NFL. So he's not going to have any issues in my eyes, and he's going to get the respect and earn the respect. He's already done it. So he's going to get those guys to buy in. And if not, he's going to get them out of there, So I look at it like this, coaches know how to vet guys. If not, they can enter the portal. Because I'm gonna feed my family,
I'm with you.
That's kind of how I am with a coach mentality now. Like you're not gonna go on the field and make me look bad. Like I ain't been doing my stuff from Monday through Thursday. So Friday you ain't gonna play. So you got to show me that you know what you're doing, so I can let coach know you good to go in. If not, you can go to another school. You ain't getting in. So
yeah, that's fair points. And we don't have a whole lot of defensive players on in this chat right now, but Jacque and Leonard, and I guess I'll ask Jacque you this question first, and then Leonard, we'll kick it over to you. As far as defensive philosophy goes, last year there was. I don't like to throw around the word soft because I think that's extremely disrespectful. But there were
TJ, it's correct.
I know. I just don't want to say it, right? I don't want to say it. And there was a lot of you saw a lot of missed tackles, you saw a lot of missed assignments, you saw a lot of big plays being guys getting thrown up. I know Leonard, you hardly let any balls get over your head, Pauls. When you but Jacque, running the 3-4 defense, you leave yourself open to a lot of gaps, especially up against the run. What would you like to see defensively to change when DJ brings this new culture?
I think it goes back to the roots. I think holding players to accountability, holding your teammates to accountability, like real leaders. A football team is built around leaders, and you know who you should look up to in your position. And if you don't have that leader in that particular position, the whole team can be screwed. Because at the end of the day, like as me as a middle linebacker, I knew at one point I had to become a leader. If I'm gonna become a starter, I had to become a leader because middle linebackers, I call the plays. I got to get the defensive line right, and there's some hard head suckers, right? So and I had to know everything about the defense as a middle linebacker. If you don't hold that mentality and accountability, the next man up, behind you is not going. I mean, you may go down, but the next man up is going to follow your footsteps and look up to you, and that's why I think is missing. What was missing last year, that accountability, that leadership. I didn't see a dog out there who held down that defense. I didn't see a dog out there who said, oh yeah, I can look at him and say, oh yeah, he's the guy they look up to, and I look at every position. I'm not looking at just one player. Right. And we had players at every position who we knew was that leader who we can look up to. And then the players who come up from behind them is doing the same thing when we were there. Like when I left, Kimbrough became that leader. And I taught Kimbrough, Kimbrough will follow every footstep, since the recruiting show, everything that I did, and look at how Kimbrough turned out, as an All-American. I left and was Defensive Player of the Year. And then the next year he was Defensive Player of the Year, right? In the conference. Like that's the type of accountability we hold. And I wasn't going to let him follow my footsteps and not be the same and not have that leadership, with him. So that's where I think it's missing.
Yeah, Leonard.
Yeah, man. I'll speak to more schematics, right? I mean, we didn't play in the 3-4 while we were up there, right? So that's always difficult to speak to. I've never been a huge fan of it because I think it leads, to your point, leaves a ton of gaps in the run. But one thing we had while we were up there with Coach Wiley, Coach Jones, we had a bend but don't break type of defense. We swarmed to the ball. We hustled to the ball all the time. And I don't think there was ever a time where you could call our defense soft or call it lazy. And I think even for me as a DB, though, I think where I struggle, and it's probably been more so the past 2 or 3 years, is the secondary, man. We give way too much up in the passing game. You can't let anybody run the ball on you either. But the passing game, one thing that we've been known for, you go back to the early 90s with Coke and Max Stevens and all those guys, linebackers, DBs, that back seven, we've always been tight, man. So to see that back seven not tight at App State, that's like seeing a quarterback this past season that wasn't getting it done, right? We're just not used to that level of play at certain positions, right? Quarterback, running back, receiver, the back seven. We're just used to a certain caliber and a certain level of elite play where you don't let a lot of, on defensively anyway, let a lot of big plays happen, man. It was way too much of that going on, man. And I don't know if it was a talent thing where we were, because we're in the group of 5 now, we're recruiting guys on size or size of school, or I don't know where these guys are coming from, because while we were there and while we were playing FCS, a lot of us were too small to go to the bigger schools, but we were faster than everybody. We were just as talented, if not more talented than a lot of the bigger schools that we would go play, right? So I'm excited to see him get back to just recruiting guys, right? Some football guys that's going to play ball, because when you recruit for that size and that talent, man, that's not always the best route to go, because then you end up with what we have up there now, man, just some guys that are there, but not getting the job done.
Yeah, hey, one shout out. We had 2 things first. First, TJ, your comment got a no Diddy comment on Instagram. Say that I can't.
I don't even know where that came from.
Yeah. But speaking of the defensive prowess, Coach Gree, which I believe is Mark Legree's Instagram handle.
Yeah, Dre, what's up, boy?
Dre's probably watching because he just said, shout out to Leonard teaching me how to backpedal. So there you go.
Bro, his backpedal was crazy. His freshman year, you got to give Leonard a lot of love for that, because his freshman year, Dre backpedal was insane. I remember lining up it was playing. He was playing safety. I was licking my chops when we were going on. I was like, he's about to get it.
Dre, though, man. One thing about Dre, I mean, I know one-on-ones his freshman year was a little sus. You put him in the middle of that field, man. Dude, that boy was a ball hawk, man, and he'll hit you too, man. And that's one of those things, man. Just missing guys like that are just hawks back there, man. Hey, I'm gonna go get the ball, or I'm gonna go hit somebody. I'm gonna do one or the other, right? And by any means necessary, I'm not gonna get embarrassed. And that was the biggest thing. And I don't know what those practices look like up there. But I know we had some of the most competitive practices up there. And the last thing any of us would get embarrassed. Because if I embarrassed somebody as a DP, I was going to let them know. If Dex embarrassed me, the whole sideline was going to let us know, right? And we just had a certain mentality that we weren't going to get embarrassed. And we went hard all the time. And that it made Saturdays that much easier, because there was nobody that was going to be as talented as the person we faced all week.
Hey, Love, kind of speaking to what you just said about, like, obviously seeing practices. I remember we practiced full gear, probably Monday through Thursday?
Yeah.
And we tackled 2 days a week.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like, we're going to go shells today, we're going to no.
Terrible Tuesdays.
What? We were going out there and, like, so, like, when I look at practice now, it is, I mean, there's not much tackling going on. Tackling circuits only do so much. That's just the fundamentals. But you got to be able to run full speed in practice and hit somebody, because if you don't, what makes you think you're going to cut the switch on in the game and be able to go do it? Like,
creates toughness.
Yeah, it creates toughness. You cannot think you're going to cut that switch on a Saturday and go full speed and tackle somebody when you're not doing it in practice. I don't know if that's the NCAA. I'm not sure if the NCAA rules have changed on what you can do and what you can't do in practice, but I'm sure it doesn't say we can't go knock somebody's head off. Because if I got a chance to crack one of my teammates in practice, his head was getting cracked. Because if I didn't do it in practice, it wasn't gonna happen in games. And I know if Leonard had a chance to come and get one of us receivers, listen, I used to hate going against Wiggs and Corey Lynch.
Oh my God!
Because I knew they was gonna try to get me in practice.
Oh my God! I remember one time Corey Lynch caught me when I was chilling. I was just gonna give him some love, you know what I mean? Just blocking. I remember it was 41, and I was going up the block, and he saw me loafing, and Corey Lynch, and Corey not even tough like that. I mean, let's just keep it real. Corey was not that guy, but he ran through my face. It pissed me off for like 30 seconds, and then I got back to the hut or back to our line of scrimmage, and Lil Mo, Chris Moore, he looked at me and was like, "Hey, freshman. That did it, didn't it?" And I was like, I wasn't even prepared, man. Like, I think we was just chilling. So no, like you said, I mean, we had a team culture where Jerry Moore had to tell us we were light that day. Let them run, dump them and let them run. Like we had to have that verbiage before practice to make sure that the defensive players knew that we wasn't hitting today. That's the kind of culture that we had, and I don't think that exists anymore to this day. But kind of switching gears over to the offensive side of the ball, I know obviously everybody's familiar with Joey California. He took off and took the bag over at UCLA, and I don't blame him for having done it. You know, get your money when you can get it. But there was obviously a significant drop off at the quarterback play this year, and I specifically want to talk to Richie and Armanti when it comes to this. Armanti, I'll let you go first. When it comes to quarterback play, what is missing from the way that we, and it's hard to compare anybody to you and Richie, right? Y'all were one of a kind. I got to see both y'all up close. And like I tell everybody, I was spoiled because one left and I had another one that was transcendent just as good come in and follow suit. So I don't want to necessarily have anybody compare themselves or you compare yourself to anybody else. But what is missing from that quarterback position that we haven't had in these last couple times?
For me personally, I think it's not just the quarterback. It's I know Jacque touched on it a lot, and it was pretty much the whole team from what I seen. And there was no identity. So just like there was no leaders that you can literally point out on the field, like, hey, I can see that guy's a leader. There wasn't that on offense either. And I know everybody can speak on it. Just because you had a great game or a great year don't mean it's going to transition to the next year. You got to come in and work twice as hard. There's a target on your back now. Everybody knows who you are. You put up numbers that weren't put up, so everybody expecting you to do it again, and you come in lollygagging and not being intentional in practice, not being the leader that we needed out there. That's what it's gonna turn out to be. It's gonna look horrible.
Yeah, Richie, what are your thoughts on the offense?
Yeah, man, same thing. Not like you said, not being intentional, man, and like when we were starting and doing our spread offense and stuff like that, we knew exactly what we wanted to do. We were gonna run that zone read. We were gonna run 4 verts. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna run our screen game. Identity, right? We knew what we were gonna do, right? You know what I'm saying? And we weren't scared to do it, right? And so that's the big thing. It's like a lot of the times this year, man, they were guessing, yo. Me and BT talked about it some as well. Like, you know what I'm saying? We chasing deep balls when we need to get first downs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, offense look real stagnant. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're running the same thing over and over and over, right? So you got to find that identity. You know what I'm saying? And you got to really work on it. Like Monty said, man, offense, defense was hard in practice, dog, but we try to score on their ass every play too.
Right.
I know we had them on red jerseys and shit in practice, but I ain't even trying to let them touch me. You know what I'm saying?
Don't even make it close. Don't even make you think that
we went 100% on offense in practice, Joe. Like you had Joe, Sticks, and Omar and them boys up front. You know what I'm saying? All the backers, Cam, Zod, Brad.
Olabar brothers.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, so even when we went 7-on-7, though, we went 100%.
Yeah, even one-on-ones. Bro, remember Jermaine Little? Jermaine Little used to go out there. He used to immediately call whoever it was. I think it was Dingle. He used to call Dingle out every single practice. Come get some. Don't run away from this. And that's what kind of built that culture. And then Dex started doing the same thing. Dex was doing it with Cuddy, and James Hill was doing it with Cuddy. And it was one of those things where, you know, and then Leonard and I started doing it. It was kind of, we saw y'all do it first, and we wanted to be, we didn't want to be labeled as soft. We didn't want to be labeled as the team that didn't carry on the tradition. So when it was time for one-on-ones or when we're going shell coverage or whatever it was, we wanted to compete the same way you guys competed, because we knew, you know, we were what was next. And we had to take it to that next level. And we wouldn't have been able to do that had guys like you and BT and Big Zod and all y'all guys didn't lay down that foundation, because there were some guys that we played with my freshman year, like you guys, that had been given this offense 2 or 3 years before. The numbers would have went crazy. The numbers would have been absolutely ridiculous if we had this offense before that. So people know the era, but they don't know the talent that started that era. You know what I mean? And that's the thing that I think a lot of people need to, and that's why whenever we have these kind of conversations, I always try to get Richie and BT on, is because I also want them to understand that while Armanti and the rest of our offense, we took it to that next level, you got to give love to the guys who started this thing, because it came from West Virginia, but when we got to when it got to Boone, it took off.
Yeah. And another thing, TJ, like when we like our freshman year, most of us probably was on scout team.
Right.
Man, we used to try to kill scout team.
Yeah.
Like, man, my freshman year, dog, we went up against some guys on that defense. Man, those kids, man, they used to get pissed at us because we scored 2 touchdowns. And Dale Jones used to come to us, hey, he said some other words. Y'all calm it down. Y'all calm it down.
Yeah. But I wasn't going through that circle receiver. We weren't doing that.
Me and Chris Thomas was on scout team in 01, man. We used to go down there and get in the business. They be mad at us when we were at the practice. Man, y'all young boys got to slow down. For what?
Yeah.
I remember my freshman year, I tried to get off that scout team one time, and Dale Jones came to find me. My freshman year, look, this was right after the Kansas game when I started smelling. Remember, I made that catch.
In the middle of
my first catch. And then the next week, coach was like, "You're about to play." So I was like, "Oh, I ain't got to go on scout team this week." Man, Dale Jones came. I was on the jugs machine. Came and grabbed me by my collar. I was like, "Man, what's going on? Get your ass on scout team." It was a rite of passage, man. We all had to go through it. You all had to wear that humble bumble jersey. We all had to do it, and it's just kind of what it was, and that's what built the culture, because we had to earn our way on the field.
Yeah, trust the process.
I know we laughing and joking about it, man, but I think that's part of the problem with the transfer in NIL too.
Right.
You got coaches that really can't coach how we got coached, because you yell and say the wrong thing or cuss a kid out now. They go pack their shit up and leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it boils down to, you got to make sure you recruiting the right kind of guys. And I like to use Clemson as the perfect example. I didn't grow up a fan of Clemson and Dabo or whatever, but he didn't accept transfer. He wouldn't accept them. And he wanted to make sure he can continue to bring kids up from freshmen and see it through and build that culture. And, you know, whatever you think about Clemson or whatever, shoot, they was right there.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, they a top team with no transfers and none of that. So you got to figure out a way to bring that culture back in and put that identity back in the team.
Yeah, y'all talk about y'all just sit up and talked about how, like, you got a guy that comes in for a semester, he playing football in the fall, and he's gone. And we talk about where's the leadership at. Like, these guys don't respect somebody who's come in for 6 months and he's gone. That ain't no leader.
No.
Like, if you got to be there at least a year, I'm gonna say 2 years. You got to be at least 2 years to be somebody to look at you as a leader and somebody to look up to you and you can hold somebody accountable. Because let's say, if Jacque just came in the app in the spring, we know he ain't up here a senior. He be finna be gone in December. I'm not listening to that you say. Like, you don't have or you just got here and you finna leave.
Yeah, or guys come in and just because of their name, they already get the captain patch on their jersey. Yeah. What have you done to earn that captain position? You know, I mean, we had to be, again, Richie, I don't think you got the captain jersey until what, your junior year, right?
Yeah, sophomore year.
Sophomore year. So you had to go through it. You had to earn it. You know what I mean? That it's a badge of honor, man, to have gone through the programs that we went through and the things that we gone through. Winter gym, 6 a.m. lifts for freshmen, those kinds of things. It was, when I remember my freshman year, we had to work out. I think it was at 5:30, and I think the seniors didn't have to come in until like 10 or 11 o'clock. It was like right before lunch, and I'm thinking to myself, how y'all get to work out so late? They've earned that right to do it. And you gotta pay your dues, man, in order to be successful in this program. So it's something to be said for what we went through. And I know we keep harping on the old days, and it'll never be the way it was when we came through, right? I mean, it just won't. We got to wrap our heads around being able to accept that, because it'll never go back to that. But there's something to be said for the way that we were brought up and how we played football and how we were coached. Like you said, Armanti, some of the things that were said to us, I can't even repeat to my son. I mean, my son, like, Daddy, do you love me?
Hey, TJ, I don't mean to cut you off, but to piggyback on that, bro, like, we were coached so hard, but we also were self-policed, dog. We coached ourselves.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like Jacque said it earlier, man. Everybody held everybody accountable. You know what I'm saying? And it trickled down. So a lot of the times, even with the discipline stuff, man, it never even made it to the coaches. We handled that stuff ourselves. Everything throughout the summer, you know what I'm saying? We handled ourselves, yo. And that's the stuff you won't have again just because it's a different time and era in college football, yo. And I think that was a big part of the culture as well, yo.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I love seeing what Paul put up there as a former DB and what he
Yeah, I
said
was going
about.
to say, put that back up there for the guys to see.
Yeah, I want to make a comment off of that too.
Yeah.
This is something that we've been trying to get back in the App State for years. You got to know where this foundation started at.
Oh my God! I keep saying, go ahead.
You cannot do it like obviously. Me and TJ, we talk a good little bit about stuff, and we've been. There's a lot of guys here in Charlotte. We started trying to put together this former players alumni association. Julian Roush and Scott Suttle were the spearheads of it, and we had a meeting. It was almost 25 former athletes. Former football players here in the Charlotte area. We got together trying to get this quote unquote this alumni thing back together. If these guys who were like the man just said, he didn't know who we were. Like, how you don't know what started this stuff for you guys? What gave you this opportunity?
Right. The reason why
that's been my biggest fear. That's been my biggest fear with this coaching staff coming in. I don't know who the head coach is. I personally don't know. I know his name. That's about it. But when you don't come in, and that's what I was talking to some other guys earlier today. I'm happy that DJ got hired because he's a guy who knows what the Mountaineer culture is.
Yep.
He's a guy who's been there. He's a guy that knows how to sing the song after you beat somebody in the locker room after the game.
Sing it right. Oh my God!
Sing it right. It makes
me
sing it right.
So much to hear when they don't sing it right. Like how do you not? You're going too fast.
Yeah,
slow it down.
Sing it right. Slow it down.
Yeah.
Man,
like you gotta.
It's little things
about.
Like
you gotta
that.
be able to sing it right. You gotta be able to do things that we've done, and players have got to know what has happened. Another thing I hate when former athletes try to go back to the school, that unless you're shelling out thousands of dollars, you don't get no love. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You get no love.
That's a fact.
You get no love. It's try to call it be a former player and try to call it App State and say, hey, I want to come see a game. Man, you got to go through a rigmarole just to try to get a ticket.
Yeah,
I talked about that, man. I talked about that years ago. I actually went and sat with the AD years ago about before they built this new facility, right? And all I preached was culture. You know, Jacque, you can get former athletes involved. There's going to be the Jerry Moore Center, you know, there. And my idea was, if you're a former athlete, you shouldn't be calling to find out how to get tickets to a game. That should already, it should be, you should be able to go online. You should have one plus, you know, a ticket and another one for your mom or dad, whatever, and have access to that Jerry Moore Center to build that culture because at the same time, these athletes need to see our faces there. Yeah. And I'm talking about they need to see all of us on this call there at one time. Like we can do that collectively, but we don't know how to do it.
Yeah. I mean,
right now, I don't know how to do it. I don't know. And that was my thing. Like we should have a pass that grants us access for all that we've done for the school and the culture. And we talking about these informal players, like we should have that access pass no matter what. And that should have been part of that new facility when they built that new facility, you know, when they put that new turf field down, like that would have kept the culture alive right there.
It's hard to believe in something that we built that you can't see, right? Like they can't see us, right? Obviously, everybody knows who Richie Williams is. They know the legends. They've seen the pictures. They know who Armanti is. They know who Jacque is. They know all of these All-Americans and stuff like that. But it was other players that were part of that team that weren't All-Americans, right? It was guys that were on those teams who were heavy contributors that you're not gonna see their names in headlights, or there might not be pictures of them on the wall, but they were part of something great and there was something big. And we shouldn't have to wait for an Armanti Edwards jersey retirement before we all have the chance to get back together, right? Like that's you know, when I BT, you and I talked about it while we were there. Like it should not take that for us to have to, get a chance to come back. I mean, Scott Sullivan and I was talking about it in the parking lot when we was at a tailgate. There should be a parking lot where all of us guys can come and bring our kids, bring our wives, bring our families, and have, just have that lot for us. Even if we don't use it every single Sunday or every Saturday, just use that area for us to be able to come together, and so that we can start building building that kind of camaraderie. And maybe everybody doesn't get on the sideline for every game. I know I get on the sideline. I can't control what everybody else do, but maybe everybody don't get on the sideline, right? But at least we at the game, and there's a place for us that we can kind of do maybe a meet and greet with these guys at the game, so they can see who these guys were, because everybody wasn't an All-American, right. And there's some key parts of these. So.
Yeah, and that's kind of thing. Like, so when I first started with the radio, I knew none of the coaches. I don't know what guy I really knew was Clark. And then when Coach Spear came back this year was his first year. When Coach Spear came back this year, I knew him. And the only constant face that's ever going to be around Boone is Reggie Hunt. All of us know Reggie's going to be there, and he's been trying to get some things going for plenty of years to bring the current culture and connect them with the past culture, so that these athletes know who we are. But then you got to think about it. In this day and age, when a kid's only going to be there for a year or 2 years, he's not going to be. He shouldn't be. I'm not saying he shouldn't be a celebrate as much as guys who's been there for 5.
Right.
But you got to think about like how this landscape is shifting, and it falls on the athletic department. You got to get your former athletes involved. I know a lot of like Charlotte is probably. I think it's the second biggest hub for App alumni. We had, like we talked about, we had almost 25 to 30 guys who just said, yo, I want to get together and have a connection about some of these former players. It was guys obviously from our era, guys who were before me, like KT, guys that were after us. They think some of the guys after Stephen Mechanic's a guy I can remember off the top of my head who used to come and be the scenes. You got to bridge gaps. You always got to have somebody that's going to bridge gaps for these generational players, because if not, the old heads get thrown to the side, the new heads get all the attention, but they ain't caring because they there for a semester and they're gone.
And they don't know how it started. They don't know how it started. And I go back to what I said earlier. Everybody knows and everybody loves Armanti Edwards, but every time we have these calls, I make sure Richie is on them, because they need to know that it started here, right? Mm-hmm. We took it to this level, but it started here, and 7 was the guy. 7 was the guy who got this thing started. 7 was the one that when Jerry Moore went up to West Virginia to see how those Mountaineers play football, and was like, hey, Richie, can you run this offense? Richie was like, hell yeah, we can run this offense. And we did it, And so it matters where this kind of stuff starts from. And I'm so glad personally that I was a part of y'all's generation on the tail end of it, but also a part of this culture, because I consider myself part of that bridging the gap that you talk about, BT. I consider myself part of, guys who can speak to what it was like before the national fame, right? Before beating Michigan, before 2 and 3 national championships, what the grind was like to get to that point. So,
mm-hmm. And so I think because it's a lot of times when we see guys, like obviously when we came in, guys that were before us, it's hard. I be want to connect with those guys because a lot of those guys paid, like I said, they paid the way for us. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to get former athletes to kind of get back into on the mountain, get back there, because like you say, it's an isolated. People don't live in Boone. No. Ain't none of us athletes living in Boone. When we walk across that stage, that's the last time they probably seen us until football. But you got to be able to bring people back. You got to be able to get people ingrained and get these former athletes back around, because that's what's going to help these athletes nowadays. And that's how you sell your program. Look at these former athletes coming back because they love this program.
Yeah, it's not that hard, because our love for each other and our love for football. We love the program. Like y'all was my brothers on my recruiting trip before we even stepped out on the field. Like literally, like before I even seen y'all in shoulder pads in the jersey, when we went through training, summer camp, all of that stuff, y'all was my brothers before I even seen y'all play, right? Mm-hmm. And that's how it should be. Like because these guys they don't even gotta know go back and watch my film. Like, they ain't gotta know, but they would know my presence there on campus when we show up. They say, okay, these former players who was on the national championship team is here supporting our state, so we know what the coach is about. Right now, they don't see that. They don't see us showing up and talking to them like that. Just a simple dap up.
Yeah.
Like DJ showing me like Jacque, this is our middle linebacker right now. Meet Jacque Roman. He's a 3-time American. That goes a long way.
Yeah,
that goes a long way. When I could dap up the existing middle linebacker now, or any his whole linebacker squad, and we just talking, and they see the culture and the brotherhood that we had, and that's what they need to see. Right now, they're just in and out. They're just practicing. They don't understand. What the brotherhood is about.
And that starts with the school, though, with the front office and the coaches have to do their part too. In the aspect of we have so many guys. I'm not saying go say names. I talked to a few personally that don't care to go back on the mountain because they feel like they've been thrown away. So when you feel that way, it's a tough job to try to get guys up there. And people don't even realize, man, I never told Richie this, but a lot of people think I played with Richie because of our bond. Me and Richie didn't cross paths on the field, but we connected when he came back up there, and people would think we played together for 3-4 years. Yeah. It's like with BT, when we get together, people think we played together. I didn't play with them guys, man, and you don't have that up there now. I will bet anything that a guy that's on the team now walk past a guy that was on the team 3 years ago, they wouldn't know each other.
Wouldn't know. Yeah. And that's sad, man, because it shouldn't just be the guys whose names were in lights, right? It shouldn't just be I know Dexter Jackson because Dex played for Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? Like I shouldn't have to know him from that. I should know him because he came and spoke to the team, or he came and hung out, or I dapped him up. I remember the first time I met Kendall Lamb, I didn't meet Kendall Lamb until he was already in the NFL. And I met him on the sideline at an app game when it was the App Carolina game like a bunch of years back. It was back when we had what's the transfer quarterback 7?
Chase Bryce.
Chase Bryce. Yeah, that was back when Chase Bryce was there. And that's the first time I had ever met Kendall Lamb was on the sideline then. And I'm like, why has it been 7 to 8 years since you've played football or was a freshman that I'm just now meeting you? That's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy. And then also, man, like you think about like what you just said, you won't even know somebody you played with, 3 years apart. But even as TA had personal relationships with most of the players when he was there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't even just players themselves. It was the staff itself, dog. Like everybody was a unit, man. Everybody.
I can still name guys that weren't part of the football team at all. Right. Had nothing to do with football. Right. Just guys that I was in class with, just guys that I was walking past, just in general. Like Mont Creamer is one of the ones that comes to mind immediately. Like he and I still talk to this day, and he never even touched the football. He wasn't even a fan. His brother was one of the cheer captains. Right. That's the only reason why I even met him. Was his brother was one of the cheer captains for us. So I mean, and he never even touched the field. He was at every football game, and to this day, I still know him, still know his name, his family now, and that kind of thing. And it's just those are the kinds of things like you said, Rich. It goes beyond football. There shouldn't be a stopping point to alumni being able to come back and ingratiate themselves with who's on campus now.
Dex, when you was up there working with the Watauga with the kids in Watauga, how did they connect with the community and stuff like that? Obviously, knowing you was in the region.
Oh man, it was cool, man. What I did was I got with Tommy Soulfield, so I had to learn the hard way. At first, I was up there just at forgot about that park that's up there right now. I can't think about the name of it, but it was a turf field. What's the turf field where the soccer girls
State
play?
Farm?
Oh, State Farm. The practice facility.
Ted Mack.
So I was
right.
Ted Mack, yeah, that's what it is. Ted Mack. So I was just doing some like one-on-one training out there, which Tommy's facility is out there for his company, and I end up training his little Cooper Green. Mm-hmm. And he was like, what could you do inside my facility if I got some turf in here and got you a little indoor and kind of make you a little baby indoor facility for training youth athletes? So I was like, we could do a lot. So, he marketed a lot of stuff for me, and I was like, I would love to do this stuff with getting guys ready for the pro day, the combine, stuff like that. So he tried to help me as much as he could. And then when Clark got hired, I was like, how can I come into the program, even help you with recruiting guys? Because I know if I was in high school and I saw another minority male came from the same area, the same hood from me, whether he was in the same state or not, but wow, this dude went pro from here.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I got big offers. He had big offers too. Things ain't go right. Took my SAT late. I got getting my GPA up, but still App State on the table. But dang, this brother right here, smaller than me, fast. Dang, he went pro from this school. I might can do it. He did it.
Yeah.
So I was like, trying to get me on is just helping out recruiting guys. And he was just like, how many years you got left? Have you coached before? And I'm like, Coach, just get me on staff, man. just get me on staff. And it never manifested. And I was just like, it's just not my time. And that's kind of how, when a lot of guys were like, we did so much for the program. Like, okay, if a former player here ain't gonna hire a former player, what we doing?
Right.
I'm trying to help the program, not hurt the program.
Don't you hate that loaded question? Have you coached before?
Have you coached before?
Yeah,
come on,
because here's the thing about it, bro. I'm a recruiter, right? And so like by trade, my job day to day is to recruit people. And one of the saddest parts about recruiting ever is when a hiring manager tells me this person doesn't have enough experience. Well, hell, nobody has experience until they got experience.
Exactly.
Somebody got to give them a chance.
Yeah,
right?
right.
Of course you don't have coaching experience because you haven't coached yet.
Right.
Ain't nobody gave you a chance.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So I
It's
hit him
even
with
worse,
this. I said, have you been a head coach before?
And that's the thing. They ask us that question.
Yeah. Everybody had to get an opportunity and start.
Yes.
So I don't care. And it's about who you know. And guess what? With this program, we know best. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah. Nobody knows anything until they know it.
Right. Yeah, it's about it's about who you know in this world. And don't ask, don't receive. But at the end of the day, that experience goes out the window once you put them in the door and you show them what you can do once you get in the door.
Yeah. I want to jump back to what BT said to TA, essentially, talking about being experienced and knowing these guys on a little bit more of a personal level than just, I'm just going to grab some video, And TA, you've now experienced multiple teams across multiple, professional leagues and whatnot. I mean, was there something noticeable that you saw out of these groups of men that you don't see other places, or just maybe similarities in some regards or differences, something you can kind of point to that stuck out with these guys?
Yeah, no question. So just to give everybody a little background, obviously work for the team doing the motivational videos in this era, 2005-ish to 2009-ish, somewhere around there. And so I went and left, and I worked for NFL Films, and I worked at a lot of SEC schools doing video production stuff. And so I did the same stuff basically around all that. And you'd always heard, we were talking about practices earlier and how hard we practice. Like Coach Moore would say that he'd hear from an NFL scout that had come by practice, or we'd have someone transfer in and they say, nobody practices as hard as you. And, some of that's like, blowing smoke or making you feel good whenever someone's visiting and they want to, just connect with you. But I mean, I saw it firsthand. It was not even close, the stuff that you guys were doing during practice and how hard you practiced and how seriously you took it. You go to an SEC school, which gets, all this credit for how good they've always been historically, and they're not practicing near as hard, not even close. And today, what BT was saying, it's not that way anywhere anymore. No one's practicing as hard, but I was able to see like pretty close timeline to what you guys were doing and what everybody else is doing. And it was shocking. I mean, I remember the first practice I saw, practice ended, and I'm like, oh, is this like the halfway point? Or like, are they going to run after? And I was like, this is it? Is this like, and that just jumps off the page. And the other thing that always stuck with me was being in the locker room before the games. I mean, it was silent. You could hear a pin drop, and everybody was in their own locker, and they were getting their minds right themselves. You'd obviously have TJ or Jacque with a little something here and there every now and then. It was always.
I think somebody's about to die. Who ready?
And then you'd have Cardwell or Blake or everybody down the line that would read the Bible verse. But it was just so. I just kind of thought that's how it was. And then you go and you're in all these other locker rooms. We just finished. We just did the Coach Prime show this year, so we were in the locker room with it. I mean, they have a DJ in their locker room.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You literally I literally have to put headphones in because it's so loud, and I mean the whole place is bumping, and that's kind of the extreme. But I mean, it's just it's like that in a lot of places, and that always just stuck out to me because that's probably what I thought the locker room was until I had been in ours, and I was just so shocked how everyone was by themselves. They were quietly motivating themselves. They might have headphones on. They might be praying. They might be just sitting there collecting themselves. And that just, I don't know, that just stood out to me that you didn't need to be motivated by other people. You could self-motivate yourself, and you knew what you had to do to get your job done. And I'm trying to think what else. For as much as Coach Moore gets off topic on his speeches, I mean,
and he did
those, and I'm sure as heavy as your knees were at the end of practice, where you had to take a knee and listen to him talk. I mean, what an incredible opportunity to be able to sit in those and listen to that. I mean, just the wisdom and stories and experience he had, and the way he would challenge you in his own way. Man, me too. I got to be part of those huddles too. It's just, you kind of pinch yourself. Like, you don't realize it in the time, and maybe you're annoyed with how long it's going and stuff like that. But we've documented a lot of these, and I'll just go back from time to time and watch them. And it motivates me. It wants me to be a better person. It helps me to be a better leader in our company. And it's just like, wow, what a great experience we all got to be a part of. To get that leadership, to be pushed by coaches, to be able to be pushed by other players. And I say that, me too. I mean, Coach Elliott, he's an O-line coach. I got yelled at him as much as you guys did.
Yeah, Coach Elliott wasn't my job.
Yeah. And, when I do the motivational videos, I knew it was a good one because he'd come in the office and he'd watch it before he'd play it for the team. He'd come in and usually he would tear it apart. And it might be pretty good, and he'd tear it apart. But I knew I had a really good one when it ended, and he patted me on the back and just walked out. He didn't say good job.
He ain't gonna tell you good job.
Yeah. And in my career, I've been able to work on some things that like maybe are well known or like have been seen by a lot of people or stuff like that. Still to this day, the thing I'm most proud of and the most I don't know the word I'm looking for here. I got the most out of was the first motivational videos we ever did.
Yeah.
And the first one we ever did was for NC State back in 2006. And it was just one of those, hey, let's just see if we can do this. And I went to the library. I had a bunch of footage that I'd captured because I got hired as just to do coaches tape. That wasn't anything I was interested in. I just wanted to be part of the team or whatever that meant. And so we made it and we played it. And you got to think, this was 2006, and you guys had never seen yourselves in that way. You rarely got to see yourself on television. I mean, now you can, on ESPN Plus, and we get a lot of games televised and stuff like that, but we didn't get games televised at the time. When we did, it wasn't great coverage. And, if people shot highlights or whatever, you really only got to see yourself from coaches tape. So we put some highlights that we shot from the ground to music, and you all guys got to see it. And just the reaction of being in that room and those rooms, you know, for the next 2 or 3 years is an experience I'll never forget. I mean, it was just, you know, hooping and hollering, and, you know, it just, today you do the same thing, it's not going to get the same reaction because it's not cutting edge. It's not something, I mean, teams weren't doing this back then. This is just something we put together. And this is not a really well-known story. But after that game, Coach Moore comes into our office and he goes, what would it take to do that every week? And Jake and I looked at each other and like, wow, you know, that'd be tough, you know, because we don't have the equipment. Everything we did was in the library. It would be tough to do. And we kind of shrugged our shoulders and told him, you know, well, it probably costs a lot of money or whatever. And he's like, well, put me a quote together. I'm interested to hear what that would be. So Jake and I kind of put together what we need or whatever. And I can't remember the number now, but this was maybe $25,000 in 2005. And, you know, this is Appalachian State, a 1AA team. We had just won the national championship. You know, we're still not filling our seats for games yet. We know it's not going to happen, you know. And the next week, everything shows up. And I'm like, how did Coach Moore talk the athletic department into doing the thing or whatever?
Hey, I need that sucker.
Yeah. So what I know now that I didn't know then was that Coach Moore paid for that out of his own pocket. He believed in it. He believed in it so much.
Wow.
And he saw the reaction and how it got everyone excited about it. And I didn't know that for a while. Someone else had told me afterwards. I think it made a huge difference in our team. It changed my life forever because this was just something I was going to do. And when I took the job, I was like, oh, this isn't what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. But, you know, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. And it changed my life. My career. I met my wife at App after that. You know, just all of it. And it's because of, you know, Coach Moore doing a gesture like that. And he didn't celebrate it. He didn't tell people about it. He just saw that it was an important thing. And he just made it happen. And it's really cool. Coach Moore, you know, I've really got to know him really well. He's a, you know, close friend and mentor of mine. And you just don't, like, I'm lucky just through the time because I really got to spend more time with Coach Moore than a lot of players do. Because, one, I was there for a longer than a college career of a player. And then I see him more and I get to have conversations with him more just through all that. And just the stuff that he did for the program that he never celebrated or, you know, drew attention to himself. I mean, it's unbelievable. We were really fortunate to have him as a coach and to have him as long as we did. And, you know, it's something we'll never have again at App, you know, which is sad to say, but, you know, you're kidding yourself too if you don't think that Coach Moore didn't get pursued, you know, even late in his career at the, you know, through all that stuff. You might think, oh, he's old, he'll just stay here forever. But, I mean, he got pursued pretty hard for some other things too. And he always said that Appalachian State gave him a second chance. And, you know, he'll never forget that. And so it's pretty special. I know I was long-winded there to just say we were really fortunate to experience this time and to be able to celebrate the things that, you know, you guys accomplished on the field. And not only that, but the people we got to be around and just experiences that people won't get ever again. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a way to put a bow on it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's it. And to this day, like, your videos actually means a lot because my kids watch them on YouTube. Like the one with money like this, and that we did for Wofford. They know the song I made, and you guys put it on they think Daddy was on the video games and all of that. Daddy, they show their friends. You know, it's amazing, man, how that video right there itself of what you guys did. Like, and I'm proud of it too, because when you guys played it, I was like, holy cow. I didn't know nothing about it, you know? And I'm like, oh my goodness. So kudos to you, man, because those videos still stand. They're legendary until this day, man. Thank God for YouTube, you know, because my kids go on and watch that thing and they know the song, and they think my kids really think
Appalachian is like the only football program in the world.
my son really thinks that we're like a Power 5 program.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we Power 5. We the only.
I can't wait to go to Appalachian State. I'm like, well, maybe he might do some other stuff.
Yeah.
He really thinks that going to App that's where he's destined to go. And listen, if he goes to App, great. But if Alabama come calling, we're going to Alabama.
My kids don't even want to watch no other game. Like if App ain't on TV college wise, they don't want to watch football.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we took a risk on that one. That one was outside the box for sure. We,
especially at the beginning,
it could have been really cool.
EA Sports, it's in the game.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is Josh doing?
What's funny is, and you don't need any validation from me, but I'll tell you some of my experiences with watching you guys on the field, coming in, not having played the game of football. I played flag football like one time after I would have been out of college. It didn't go so well, but it's all right. When we did get to see you guys on the field and traveled regionally to see you guys in the FCS playoffs. Me and my buddy Max Sigler, my roommate in Boone, we used to sit there and watch TA's videos to pump ourselves up before we ever got out of the car at the tailgate. Like it was just like from beginning to end of a trip. It was all about App State football, and it transcended all kinds of stuff. My dad, grew me up a Penn State fan, even in Hickory, North Carolina, before anybody else. And he continues to tell me, like, whenever I share videos, the pedigree that TA and Jake started back then continues into this day, obviously still putting out great video content. My dad says this production value, the quality, it blows away Power 5 institutions when you look at it and compare the video content and what App State and that crew has been able to put out and continue to put out. So, we've got literally everybody on screen to thank for all of those things coming together, because I don't know if we're ever going to see a culmination of everything like that coming together at a space and time again with NIL and transfer. So
it was an absolute perfect storm. I mean, it was right place, right time for everybody. I mean, from the tail end of the older guy's career to the kind of fruition of how we came through, it was and not just for football. Right. It happened for every sport and for every student body. I mean, look at the campus now. We at the time, I think it was maybe 9,800 kids on campus. I mean, they're close to 14,000 now, kids that are on campus that go to school at Appalachian State. I like to think that our class, our group, and the guys that we had coming through during that time had a lot to do with that. It was a perfect storm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No doubt about it. Has anyone heard from DJ since we started this?
I have not, and
DJ in the bed.
Yeah.
DJ just stood us up.
Yeah, he probably sleep. But I will say
he better be out recruiting.
That's what he better miss this because he was on a phone call with somebody that was highly touted.
There we go. We'll go with that, and TJ and I will interview him separately in the future and definitely bring that to you guys. But you know what's great about this? There is no letdown. This show was still getting comments of people saying the culmination of all you guys together. I didn't put it up yet because TA was talking at that point. I didn't want to block him while he's running through, but this podcast has been awesome. I have had the pleasure of watching all you guys play, and I agree with that. I've been jumping for joy for days ever since TJ's been saying, hey, so-and-so committed, so-and-so committed. So, I mean, just go down the list. And he could have grabbed guys even more so than what we already have, too. But we literally ran out of space on screen.
I was going to say, we only had 9 slots. I had to stop somewhere.
Yeah, but, man, I mean, I want to go through, final thoughts for everybody because I think we'll wrap it up here being right at that 2-hour mark. But phenomenal stuff. I really appreciate it. TJ and I are the hosts, so we'll go to you, BT, and then we'll work our way down.
I'll say this. If you're a former athlete and you're watching this, let's get out and support DJ. He's one of our guys.
Yeah.
Get back to Boone. Get back to being part of this program because we're the old guys now, and we're like, hey, get off of our lawn. But this new day and age of college football, it's here to stay. You got to adapt to it, or you're going to be left behind. And so we got to get out here and support our current Mountaineers. Our future Mountaineers, all the guys who are a part of this program, we got to get out here and support these people going forward. So get up on the mountain. Hopefully we can get some communication with athletics where we can be able to come up for spring practice, have another thing that they used to do. I think they've been doing like toward the end of March where they bring all the former athletes back. Mm-hmm. But we got to get us athletes back to the mountain and the fans. Hey, be patient.
Yeah,
be patient because I know I'm a guy. I speak about App State football every week during the season, being on the radio. And you know, if you think Dow is going to come in here and be turning over things in season one, hey man, you got a rude awakening coming for you. So you know, support this program through it all, thick and thin. A lot of people wanted Clark gone. A lot of people want him to stay. It's a new era for him right now. So let's get behind him, support him, and let's make this thing happen and get App State back in the I'm not going to say we're not back in the prominence. We've always been prominent. Let's get back to winning ways on a consistent basis and winning bowl games. I never say App State's going to win another national championship, but we can get back to winning 8-9 games a season, win a bowl game, and that's probably the best that most fans should expect out of App State football.
I'll take a bowl game for sure. Jacque?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, first of all, I'd like to appreciate all you guys, man. I seeing you guys' faces. This podcast has been tremendous. And like BT said, a message to former athletes if you're watching, like literally, okay, I know we probably felt like we wasn't, going to be involved, but it's always I've been involved in the past for, the last 6 or 7 years. But listen up to this. Listen to the things that we talk about. The culture, the support is still installed in us, and let us be the messengers if we have to. But we have someone there who's been through the fire with us. The former player in DJ Smith. Back him up. Back him up. We have a brother that's there who we all was surprised by the move. So literally that was his decision, and I think his decision comes with being a part of that culture. You don't come back to a program like Appalachian State if you don't care about the culture, because he's been here before. He could have said been there, done that, right? He came back, and I think if he was on this podcast, he'll tell us that he came back, for the culture and the brotherhood that he experienced, playing ball. So let's support, each other. I don't care. We gotta, call each other, get involved. Hopefully, like BT said, we can get involved with the office, front office, athletic department. But I think this alone right here, if you're watching, is a change. This right here alone is a big step forward, because when you can see some familiar faces, and you can see like we're on the same boat as you, but we want to move this boat forward. We're not trying to backpedal and look at the past. We got to move forward. For the future of Appalachian State. The only way we do that is try to be, the best former athlete that we are, and move forward and keeping that going and backing up. DJ and the rest of the coaching staff. I want to know the rest of the coaching staff, right? I don't, I want to get to know, those guys and know their backgrounds, and I think vice versa. They should want to get to know former players, right? So if you're coaching at Appalachian State, because that's what we're about. So and then they can pass that on. So that's my message.
Armanti?
I'll speak more to the current athletes, man. Little piece of advice I would just give them: stop running away from your problem. So hitting that transfer portal, it doesn't work out for everybody. Right. A lot of kids lose scholarships. A lot of kids go from playing to riding the pine because they took extra money. So you got to make a mature decision on what you really want to do. You really want to play football, or you just trying to get a quick check before you graduate. So, and stop running away from your problems. Mature, grow, and learn how to get it out the mud sometimes.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
TA?
Well, first, I just want to thank you guys for having me on. It was an honor to be on here. It's good to see everybody's face and catch up for a little bit. This is my favorite thing to talk about, and so it was really cool being on here. I think our school honestly has the history and tradition of any school across the board, and it's just not as well known. And we've got a couple things up our sleeve that we've been working on for a while. One has to do like with that Michigan stuff. We're pitching stuff with that, and then we've also been secretly documenting.
Yeah, don't get my hopes up, man. Don't get my hopes up.
TJ, we can show you something. We can't make it public yet, but and then also we've been like kind of secretly documenting app football since obviously Coach Moore, but through microphones and slow motion and storytelling and all that kind of stuff. And we've been sitting on it for a long time, and it's we were there for Drink, we were there for Coach Clark, we a lot of the biggest ball games, biggest upsets, stuff like that. Some really cool stuff we're sitting on, and it needs to be shared, but we've got to find the right way to do it. And so it's something to look forward to. I think I forget who was talking about it earlier, about just the kids understanding the former players and what was happening in the history and traditions and all that stuff. We want to share that. And I think that would be really cool if we could find the right way to do it, with app support and the right outlet for it, to where it can be consumed, where a lot of people can watch it. And pretty cool stuff that I think everybody would enjoy, especially on this. Anybody listening or anybody that's been a part of this, I think everybody here would enjoy too.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Richie, final words?
Yeah, man, I had to switch to the phone. Can y'all hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Terrible, bro. Get it together.
Nah, man. Hey, y'all go cut that out now.
That man over there, 73 years old.
Hey, man, listen. No, but for real, man. Hey, it's good. It's good to see everybody, man. And I just want to say congrats to all of y'all boys, man. Just being successful. You know what I'm saying? Outside of football and after football and life in general. You know what I'm saying? BT, you know what I'm saying? My brother, we stepped on campus at the same time. TJ, Jacque, you know what I'm saying? Y'all boys showing up as young pups, watching y'all boys grow up, and then just watching Monty grow up as well. You know what I'm saying? We were never there at the same time, but I made sure I checked in on them all the time, and I followed the whole career. Like you said, man, we like brothers now. And then, but yeah, man, like just this platform y'all giving people and giving us, you know what I'm saying, to tell our story and just to keep that App State tradition going, just to get the stories out there and let people know, you know what I'm saying, where all this stuff started from or whatnot, man. And then I just want to end it on this, man. Monty, I know I sent you that message, man, but that shit crazy. You in the College Football Hall of Fame, dog.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Man, it's crazy, dog. Yeah.
Congratulations,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, absolutely. One last thing, real quick answers. Is it apps or nears? You guys like that roll near thing, or is that out for y'all?
No.
No.
Yeah. You don't put an S. Why would we put an S on it?
Go app.
It's app, so it's not nears. Don't
go app.
Yeah, bro, it's app.
It's sing the winning song correctly.
Yes, bro.
Sing the locker room song correctly.
It's not even hard. It's MOTHING. Like it's not even difficult.
Yeah.
Just do it right, man.
I just have a recording and just let the recording play.
Yeah.
Y'all can say it right. Just let it play after every game until y'all learn it.
But no, man, just the one final thing to put a bow on it, man. Again, appreciate all you guys for joining. I know I texted a lot of y'all on Sunday and Monday, so it's kind of last minute. So I appreciate y'all making some time for us. Obviously, we went way longer than I expected us to be, but I appreciate you guys giving me some of your time away from your family this afternoon.
You ain't got nothing else to do.
Yeah, and
it's nighttime. You talking about afternoon?
Evening, nighttime. You know what I mean?
It's past my bedtime.
I know, right? It's been past mine. But no, Dominic and I, man, we're going to continue. I know, Richie, what you just talked about. We want to continue to kind of be a platform for you guys to come on and share stories. And I mean, listen, people don't get tired of hearing from us, regardless of what we think, regardless of how old we think we've gotten. people don't get tired of hearing from guys that played during our era. So we want to continue to kind of give you guys a platform. And I know a lot of the same faces. I know, Jacque, this is your first time on, so I appreciate you for joining us. But we want to, even guys that hadn't been on before, we want to give guys an opportunity to do this more often, so that we can kind of be that platform that because a lot of the podcasts, they don't even reach out to y'all, and that's fine, whatever. But I ain't afraid to text y'all. I got your numbers, so I might not text you on a regular basis, but if I need something, I'm gonna give you a call. So I appreciate you guys reaching back out and really, like I said, we want to make sure that this is a safe place where you guys can come share stories and never feel like you've gotten old, because you haven't. And again, going back to you guys as fathers, as husbands, respect everybody for what they're doing, man, and much love to y'all and your families.
Yeah, sure. Hey, do you guys want to take us out, and we'll end the show with the correct version?
Break us down, Jacque.
Hold on, who's the team gonna be though?
Who do we hate? Georgia Southern.
Georgia Southern.
Georgia Southern.
NOTHING. That's what Southern
means to me. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. NOTHING.
Yeah.
Thank you all for tuning in. This was a blast. We will be doing it again sometime here in the future, and we'll get that interview with DJ too. So we'll bring that back to you. But until next time, everybody. See you later.
From the window.
Whoa.
Sunbelt Syndicate.